We are going to continue with this same learning target of multiplying two polynomials. Today we're going to look at multiplying two binomials. So the question should be that you're thinking about is, how does multiplying a binomial by a binomial compare to multiplying a polynomial by a monomial? So both scenarios use the distributive property. So it's not like you're going to change your strategy. You're still going to use that distributive property. The difference is going to be is that when you multiply a binomial by a binomial, you must ensure you multiply both terms of the binomial to the other binomial. In other words, you have to distribute twice. So when last lesson we would distribute that monomial to the polynomial just once. Well, since you're doing a binomial times a binomial, you have to distribute the term twice. So let's first of all look at a couple examples. Just a reminder, there's two different methods you can approach to multiplying polynomials. You can use that area model, or known as the table, to find the product if you like that visual, that kinesthetic organization, or you can still multiply algebraically, either horizontally or vertically. So our first example is going to be 2x plus 4 times x minus 7. So we'll start with making a table. And to do a binomial times a binomial, you have to do a 3 by 3 table. Put your multiplication symbol here, and it does not matter which binomial you put where. So it's whatever your preference is. Usually I do the first one vertically here, so we'll put the 2x here. I'll put the value of 4 here, and then the other binomial will go on the top row, which would be x minus 7. So just like I looked at in the last lesson, you're just going to find the area of this particular square. So it's an x and a 2x is your length and your width. So x times 2x, or 2x times x, gives you 2x squared. The area of this box, this is a negative 7. This is 2x, so 2x times negative 7 is negative 14x. This square right here, or rectangle, this is a 4 by x, so 4 times x is 4x, and this last lovely one here in the corner is a negative 7 times 4, which is negative 28. Now, when you write this, you're going to notice, so let's write this off the side here, we have 2x squared minus 14x plus 4x minus 28. And you're going to notice that there are two boxes that have the same like term. So we have to go back to adding like terms, and you're just going to combine these two together to make one term. So we get 2x squared, and then the negative 14x plus 4x gives us negative 10x, and then you have the negative 28. So when you multiply a binomial times a binomial, in this case, we got a trinomial. Let's see if that always takes place in the examples we have. Let's look at that algebraically. We'll start with it vertically. So we're going to take 2x plus 4, and we're going to multiply that times x minus 7. So just like you do when you're multiplying integers, you're just going to multiply first by the negative 7, and then you're going to multiply by the x. So we're going to take negative 7 times 4, which is negative 28. Take negative 7 times the x, which is negative 14x. And then you're going to do the same thing, but this time you're going to multiply times the x. So it's, just think of this as an integer. This is a number of negative 7, and then this would be another number that you have to multiply by or to distribute. So x times 4 is 4x. I'm going to line that up correctly here. And then x times 2x would be 2x squared. And then we're going to add those. So put our addition sign here. So negative 28 gets pulled down. We have negative 14. Remember, this is a positive 4x, so that's a negative 10x. and then we have the 2x squared. So we're going to get the same answer. Notice these are exactly the same when if you do it with the table method or the area model, or you do it algebraically, vertically, we're going to end up with the same answer. It just totally depends on your personality and which way you want to multiply. Your other way algebraically is horizontally. So I'll write that problem down again. So 2x plus 4, we're going to multiply that times x minus 7. So I use the distributive idea. You got to distribute twice. So it doesn't matter if I distribute the 2x first or I distribute the 4. I usually prefer the further one out. So we're going to take 2x times x and then 2x times the negative 7. So distribute once here. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times the negative 7 is negative 14x. And then we're going to distribute the 4. So that's that big difference. When we last lesson, you only had one monomial in the front. You only had to distribute once. Now we have a binomial, which means two terms, so you have to distribute twice. So now we're going to take that positive 4 times the x and the positive 4 times the negative 7. So positive 4 times x gives you 4x. Positive 4 times negative 7 gives you negative 28. Again, this kind of gives you the same idea with the area model. You will have a 4-term polynomial, but if you look carefully, these two terms in the middle, or my example, they're in the middle, you can combine them together. So we get negative 14x plus 4x, of course, gives us negative 10x, and then we have the negative 28. So notice that every single one that I've done here, so this one, and this one, doesn't matter if I do the vertical multiplication, the horizontal multiplication algebraically, or I do the table area model, we are going to end up with the same answer. So just decide which way you want to do it. You can try all 3 of them when you do problems. You can prefer one over the other. It truly doesn't matter. Let's look at another example here. We'll start with that area model, give myself a little bit more room. It had to be a 3 by 3. Put my multiplication symbol up here. So I get negative 5x and a negative 10. Again, it doesn't matter where you put which binomial. 3x and the positive 6. So again, we're going to multiply here. So 3x times negative 5x gives us negative 15x squared. 6 times a negative 5 gives us negative 30x. Change that color so it helps you visualize it. And then this one is a negative 10 by 3x, negative 30x. And then this corner right here is the 6 times the negative 10, which is negative 60. So if I write those out, I get negative 15x squared. I have negative 30x, I have another negative 30x, and then I have a negative 60. I like to write them in order of the highest exponent to the lowest exponent, just because it's already in standard form, and then I don't have to rewrite. You will notice again that there are 2 boxes that have the same term. Excuse me. So we have negative 15x squared. These 2 right here would give us negative 60x, and then of course we have the negative 60 at the end. So notice again, when we took a binomial times a binomial, we ended up with a trinomial. I'll go vertical on this one, and then I'll go horizontal in the last example. So we have negative 5x minus 10. We're going to multiply that by 3x plus 6. So the first go around, we're going to multiply times that positive 6. So we're going to multiply that way, and we're going to multiply that way. So 6 times the negative 10 is negative 60. 6 times the negative 5x is negative 30x. And then we have to multiply times that 3x. So we're going to go that way and that way. The only problem with vertical is that you have to really focus on your symbols or your signs in front of your terms. Just make sure you don't mix them up and you multiply everything times each other. So then we get 3x times that negative 10, which again makes negative 30x, and then 3x times that 5x, negative 5x, you get negative 15x squared. Go ahead and add those up. So we get negative 15x squared You add those two up, gives us negative 60x, which is what we do in the box or the area model. Notice we get those same exact terms. Okay, this is just laid out differently, and then the negative 60. Again, same answer, just two different methods of solving. Last example, we'll do an area model again for you. A lot of kids like your area model because it's very visual, it's very organized. Okay, so we got 8x and then a negative 11. So I put those two terms vertically here, and then I have a negative x and a negative 2. So we're going to multiply here. We get 8x is one side, negative x is the top side. This is negative 8x squared. It's kind of like a Punnett square if you ever did that in science, to find dominant recessive traits. Same idea here. We get negative 2 and 8x, which would give us negative 16x. This one is negative x times negative 11 gives us a positive 11x. And then down here in the corner, we have negative 11 and a negative 2, which gives us a positive 22. If you want to notice right away, you can see that this value is similar or like this value. So these two boxes, notice every example I've done so far, those are the two boxes that you add together because they're usually like terms. So you can add them right away instead of writing it down, or you can write it all down and then add the like terms together. I'm just going to look at them. If this is negative 16x and this is a positive 11x, that is going to give me negative 5x's, and then we have the positive 22 in the corner. So again, two binomials gave me another trinomial when I multiply them. Algebraically, we'll do it horizontally. So we have 8x minus 11. We're going to multiply that times negative x minus 2. So again, you're going to distribute twice. And those of you that like the arrows, remember me using the arrows in class if that helps you. So we're going to take 8x times negative x, which would give you negative 8x squared. We're going to take the 8x times the negative 2, which is negative 16x. Again, watch your signs. That's the thing that I see most students do wrong. If they get something wrong is they don't watch their signs. They don't carry their signs with them. This one is a negative 11. Be careful with that. So we're going to take negative 11 times negative x, which will give you a positive 11x, and then that negative 11 times the negative 2 gives me a positive 22. So we're going to notice again that these two are the exact same terms or like terms, so we can actually combine them, add them together. So we'll get negative 8x squared, negative 16x plus 11x leaves me with negative 5x, and then we have the positive 22 at the end. So again, gets the exact same answer. You just get to decide which method you like the best.